Well, good morning. How is everybody this wonderful Monday morning? I had everything written out last night, what I was going to talk about today, and I'm telling you, I got up this morning and it was totally different, completely. I was thinking about this being a time that the kids are going back to school, and I was thinking about my grandchildren and just how amazingly gifted they are. I will be talking about psychic kids in just a few minutes from here. But welcome to Rev It Up. I am loving doing this show. I hope you're getting something from it and that it revs up your week. That's what the whole purpose is. It's also about bringing on and touching on a few woo-woo topics. I love the word woo-woo. It really is an indication of people saying it's kind of crazy or you're a little bit out there, and that's okay. That just means you're more unique. So go with that. Just own that. Own your uniqueness. So last month, we had some really wonderful guests on. We had Wanda Bookleitner-Garstad, who was a shaman and a death midwife, and she was talking about midwifery and what that was like in regards to helping people cross over and the families. The other one we had was Tracy Horseman, and Tracy is a very gifted psychic medium, and that's what she does. She's probably one of the more targeted psychic mediums that I know. And she's right up there with some of those TV personalities, I can tell you. And she sees spirit in just about everyone. And last but not least, absolutely not least, was Morgana Butler. And she talked about her gift of being a demon hunter as well as a dragon mother. So those were very interesting topics that we had. And Morgana is absolutely a delightful human being as well. She's very giving, nurturing, and what can I say? I just adore her. So they were all very fascinating and informative. But most importantly, it's to realize that they're also very normal people. They're in very normal jobs, and they do very normal things. So they're not crazy. But more and more of us, you're going to see more and more people that are coming forward that are being more unique and talking about their uniqueness. And accept it. It's time to accept it. It's time for things to be open this way. I want to talk a little bit about psychic kids. And the reason I want to talk about them is because I know what it's like growing up as a psychic kid and not being understood. I know what that was like. I was very alone. I was very alone in all of it. Well, and not alone. It was like I was alone when it came to people, but not necessarily alone when it came to spirit. I always had lots of spirit around me. And when it comes to psychic kids, sometimes we miss the cues. We miss what's going on with them. Right now, I have noticed that there is an uprising of young kids that are committing suicide. And many, many kids are. And many of them are turning to drugs. And what I want to talk about in regards to that is so many of them are empaths. And people aren't realizing what that even means. They're psychic kids. They are seeing things. They are feeling and sensing things that we cannot explain and or may not be able to explain. So there's a lot that's going on with young kids, and we need to start paying attention to that. And I'm serious about this. This is not woo-woo at all. I've there's been too many people I've been talking to lately that have come to see me who have wanted to talk to somebody on the other side. I was at a crystal bowl healing on Saturday, which was one of the most beautiful healings I think I've ever been to. In regards, it was absolutely phenomenal. As far as the show goes, it was gorgeous. It was wonderful. And there was one lady who mentioned that during her experience, there was someone who came up and touched her face. And she didn't know who it was, but I did. So I told her that it was a young man who had touched her face, and that this young man is somebody who had committed suicide. Well, she burst into tears because she knew exactly who that was. And this young man, his story was that he wasn't being understood in his own family. But she understood that he was unique in that he could see spirit and that he could sense and feel things in others. And she was like a second mom to him. It was unfortunate that the mom of this young boy did not welcome her into the home or the heart of this little boy. She wouldn't let him anywhere near, and it was very difficult for her. So needless to say, he wanted her to know that he was all right. But we want kids to be all right here. We want to create an atmosphere for them where they can feel all right here in their home with their families. So you need to start as parents paying attention to what your kids, and grandmas too. Now grandmas are way more accepting. Grandmas are way more accepting of their kids. So it's what we need to look for are things like, okay, I'm just going to give you an example of my 3-year-old, my granddaughter who's now 8. Her name is Summer, and I'm going to have her on the show one time. We're going to talk about some of the things that she has done. But I can tell you that one of my favorite stories around her is she used to run around the house collecting rainbows and putting them in a bucket. And the rainbows were caused on the window, on the walls from crystals that were in the window. When the sun hit them, they would cause rainbows. And she would run around collecting these rainbows and put them in an ice cream bucket. And my daughter Paige, whenever she was down or she was feeling owie somewhere, well, Summer would come up and she'd rip the lid off her little bucket and she'd grab some of these rainbows out of there, imaginary rainbows to most people, and she'd say, Mommy, you need some here, you need some there, and she would put the rainbows wherever Paige was feeling owie, and I could tell you it was right on. The other thing I loved so much about this is she also had some friends that were in the area. They lived in Caslow, BC at the time, near Caslow, more the Meadow Creek area, which is even further north. And they had some friends who were Christian friends, and it's really remarkable that they get along. It really is. To see Christian people and people who would be considered metaphysical in their natures getting along was just tremendous. I love that they can look past their differences and see with their hearts. So anyways, they were doing at a private lake, they were doing a baptism of their 2 daughters, their 2 oldest daughters. And as they were all present, it was just a very small party, Dave and Trish were baptizing their children. They were coming out of the lake. And Summer, who was not finished with them yet, and she said, I'm not finished with you. She stood there and she scooped these rainbows out of the bucket and was sprinkling the rainbows on the girls as they were coming out of the lake. And what was so wonderful about this, and I'm telling you, I kid you not, the clouds, it was just a little bit cloudy on the lake. The clouds parted and out came a rainbow that came out over the lake. Now that is powerful. And we're talking, people will look at this and go, oh no, that's not possible. It has nothing to do with the child, and yet it absolutely did. We are that powerful. There are kids who are that powerful. And what ends up happening is parents get a little bit afraid because if they're, we look at some of the old movies like Firestarter, where we have a little girl who starts fires whenever she gets angry. And so parents get a little bit afraid of, well, maybe if they give in to this kind of imagination, that the kids might become even more powerful. The whole thing is to accept these things with love, to allow the child to be who they're supposed to be and help them become that. It's not easy. I can guarantee it's not easy. I know that there are times my mom just did not know what to do with me. She had no clue what I needed. And I didn't know how to ask because as an empath, I'm everybody. I'm I'm feeling everybody. And these younger kids that are coming in are more advanced than we are. And we need to look at that. We need to see that. But we weren't prepared for them, maybe. And I think we need to be more prepared for them. I think we need to set it up so that when they're talking to us about seeing Uncle Joe in their bedroom, that we need to go, wow, oh, so what did Uncle Joe have to say? And don't treat it like they're an imaginary friend. To them, to these kids, it's real. And so you need to accept that that's real.